Welcome to part 2, protecting the operating system. Your computer's operating system is a large computer program called software that manages all the software in your computer. So the operating system is like the super program that you run things on. In ours, it's Microsoft Windows. It's like all of this is run through Microsoft Windows. If you have an Apple computer, you're running iOS or Macintosh OS, whatever it's called. iOS is probably for the iPhone, right? It could be your iOS is iPhone operating system. You're on a phone. You have an Android operating system if you're on one of the Android computers, Linux operating systems. But for this, we're dealing with Microsoft operating systems. So that's your big software. And a lot of vulnerabilities happen with the operating system because there's a lot of things going on. And you think Microsoft, oh, multi-billion-dollar company, they can protect everything. Like stuff just happens all the time. That's why they're always updating it. And they find out new vulnerabilities, so then they have to patch those. So one thing you're going to make sure is your Security Lab software is updated. So the best way to keep yourself and your operating system safe is to keep the operating system updated. And I bet if you went home to like your home PCs or your PCs or relatives' PCs or like grandparents' PCs or parents' PCs, I bet some of them aren't updating. And you really want to turn automatic updates on and make sure your computers stay up to date because they're always putting new updates in. Like those are good. Those are good. They protect you against malware because as soon as a new thing is found, they try to patch it, especially if it's a really bad thing. So if you want to keep yourself protected, keep your software up to date. That's like the big thing in cybersecurity. That's like we're going to keep doing this in other lessons. The biggest thing is keep things up to date. So how do we do this? Check whether, so in a Windows machine, check whether your computer's latest update. Click the Start button and type Update, then wait for the search results and select Windows Update. So we're going to hit Start, then we're going to type Update. Go Windows Update. So we want to go to Windows Update. Okay, so we get this thing pops up. Currently check for updates where your PC is turned off. So whenever it's red, this is turned off. So we're going to hit check for updates. Whenever you see this kind of stuff on a Windows PC, can't check because service is not running. You may need to restart your PC. What? Oh, wait. Okay. Under important updates, check the drop-down menu, install updates. Oh, wait. Under select change settings. Oh, I changed settings right here. Okay. Usually check for updates will work, but since we're on a virtual machine, it doesn't. So I want to change the settings in here. Under important updates, change the drop-down menu to install updates automatically. So this thing, never check for updates. That's not good to do. I would install updates automatically. Now, this means like, so, wait, let's see. So recommended, click OK. Most likely there are a lot of updates. You're going to visit the update window later just to see how many updates there are if you're curious. So if you're on a computer, and this is the best option. Now, sometimes the downside is, oh, you restart your computer. You know how sometimes it happens where it says Windows is installing updates and now it takes forever on the restart, and that happens randomly. Yeah, that can be bad sometimes. You could always do this download, but let me choose to install them. But I wouldn't do this, folks. You don't want to have to think. Switch it to this. All right. And then click OK. Click OK. All right. You do this on it, and then it's going to start checking for updates. All right. So it says, oh, let's do this. You will use the control panel. Click OK. You can revisit update. 11. You will use the control panel throughout this activity. So before you close the window, pin the control panel to your taskbar. To pin the control panel to the taskbar, left side. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. So we got this thing. As soon as I opened up this Windows Updates, I want to pin this down here. So what you can do, right click and go pin this program to the taskbar. So what's nice is if I close this, I can just click this to reference it again. This is the control panel where the Windows Update is, but it's all our other control panel stuff too. You're going to be very familiar with this on a Windows machine. To view installed updates, click on Programs and then click View Installed Updates. Programs, the control panel. So where's Programs? this is it. And view installed updates. Okay, there's going to be a lot of updates in here. Installed updates window shows you the latest operating system updates are installed. What is the name publisher? The most recent update shown. Okay, so the most recent update publisher was Microsoft Windows. That should be security update for Microsoft Windows. That's probably updates for Windows. Yeah, should have those going on, right? That makes sense. Return to the control panel homepage and you issue a new search for Action Center. Okay, so you can actually hit the back button. Action Center. So where is Action Center in here? I thought I could just see the Action Center. But if you have to search for it, you see this area of search? I think we've done this before. Type Action Center. Oh, and I just hit enter, right? Let's do that again. So, Action Center. Oh, there it is. Should have looked alphabetically. You can always type it in there if you can't find it. Select Change Settings from the Turn on Windows Smart Screen feature under Security. Change Settings. Okay. Turn on Windows Smart Screen feature under Security. So under Security, change settings. Okay. I wish they would just do a screenshot. That's this button. Turn on Windows Smart Screen. I get this warning. Summarize what the feature does when scheduled to do it. Okay, so get warned before running an echo. So, what does this do? So if your computer's trying to install things, you might see this at home. If it was at school, this happens on the school PCs. Whenever you try to install something, it asks you, it'll pop up a certain window and say, hey, you're trying to install something. Now, at the school machines, they say we need to use an administrator password for approval. And it's like sometimes I have to come around and type in my password to log in. But one security setting you want is you can just make this so that it asks you for a warning that whenever you're trying to install something. So the default might have been turned off. So what the problem is, if something on your computer is trying to install something, it'll just install without you asking. But if you have this, at least a warning up, it'll pop up something. So maybe you click on something accidentally and then it starts installing. Well, this warning screen will pop up and go, are you sure? And you're like, oops, I didn't mean to install anything. You can hit cancel. So that helps protecting you. If this is a computer, like maybe a family computer that, you don't want random people installing things in your house that don't know how to keep things safe. Like if I was a parent, I didn't trust my kids. Maybe I put this on, I put a password on. Maybe you trust the older ones, but you don't trust the younger ones. Or you don't want them to install their games. My parents would get mad. Like, stop installing The Sims. It's destroying my computer. It wasn't The Sims' fault. They probably did something else. So that's a good setting. Administrator approval. Sometimes you need to type in your password, though. I'd at least have this warn up, but I'd probably have this thing up, too. That's a good security feature to prevent people from installing things that are bad. Turn that on. Excellent. These are all things that I would do on a home computer. Okay, so summarize what the feature does. I kind of explained that. You might choose to take a look at your local school computer if you're able to access the control panel. Yeah, so folks, if you're on a Windows PC at home, doing these, so certain things in this class, I'd be like sketchy and be like, oh, warning, you might not want to change your computer settings at home. But these are all security features that if I was on a Windows PC right now, I would try them out. Do those, see if you can fix them. Because you're not messing up your computer by changing these settings. And you might be saving your computer from problems. All right? Keep your device up to date. I think the key thing to understand, we're always trying to keep updates up to date. You're trying to lock things down. Windows has a lot of protections lately in the last 10 years that they didn't have before. All right, firewall protection. So this is a new thing. You might not have heard the word firewall before. So what is a firewall? You know, if you go around campus, you know those. So you know how they have those weird barriers where they have to pull downs. And you ever seen the pit area? You know how there's like these like steel barriers that come down. They like rolled up and they roll down, right? And you're like, why do they even have these things? Because it's kind of ridiculous, right? They put them in the hallways to like lock down, but then it's all open on the sides. So it's not like preventing anything from happening. Like the pit has that, you've seen that. It has that one gate, but then it's got like a million openings on different sides. Like, why do they do these? Well, folks, this is just building code. Sometimes they don't make sense, but these are really supposed to be firewalls. And firewalls are, if there's actually a fire on campus, they install these walls to kind of slow down the spread or stop it from going in certain directions. So certain buildings actually have these built in. They kind of just stop the spread of a fire. Well, we use the same word in computer science and cybersecurity. A firewall is software that stops malware from entering a network. So it's kind of this wall that prevents or tries to stop things from coming in. Firewall is software that determines what is allowed onto the network. And so think about this. This is like you have your computers at home. Maybe you have this server. Pretend you don't have a server. This might be you at home. So this is your computers. And yeah, home you don't have a server. But you have a router, right? That's like, it might be your mixed, it might be like a cable, it might be a modem / router, wireless router, whatever. Wired or wireless, it doesn't matter. It's that you probably have this at home somewhere. And it's where your computers are connected to this router, which goes to the internet. Now, inside that router is usually a piece of software called the firewall. And so it's inside the router. Usually they're built inside the router now to prevent like stuff that shouldn't go to your computers from going out there. It's protecting you against the bad things. All right. So it's usually built in between the local area network and a larger network. I don't think these are usually on your computer. These are usually on the router. A firewall application can be installed on a local server. It can be installed on a server too. Sure. A personal computer, a computer whose sole purpose is to run the firewall. Even a router can be configured with firewall capabilities. So you might have firewalls on your personal machine as well, but you also have firewalls on the router. And these are all protections to make sure certain traffic comes in and certain traffic gets blocked. So it's trying to help prevent you from random person on the internet just saying, "Oh, I found your computer. I'm going to come in and mess with it." Now, you'll look at how your firewall is configured in your security lab. So you might have to change configurations of the firewall because it might be turned off too. Sometimes firewalls block things that you don't want it to block. So sometimes people have to turn them off temporarily, or have to open holes in this, or like access points for certain types. We'll get to that later in the lesson. But let's look at the firewall on our personal computer. So control panel, type firewall. So I'm going to go control panel home, or go to home. Is there firewall actually in here? I don't see it. So I'm going to type firewall. Oh, Windows Firewall. Oh, it's called Windows Firewall. Oh, so it's down here. Windows Firewall. So this is your built into the Windows operating system. And whenever you get the red stuff, that means something's not set up. Windows Firewall can help prevent. A brief look at the Windows Firewall shows the Windows Firewall is not using recommended settings, that a guest or public network is connected, and that your Windows Firewall state is off. So, yeah, use recommended settings. So if you never want to think, this is red is bad, green is good, click that. Now everything is good. Like, why would they let you turn that stuff off? Again, sometimes people need temporary access to things. It could have been a different program was installed and turned it off if it was malicious. Or maybe it just never got turned on for some reason. Honestly, yeah, I don't know why it would just be off. Like, they should just turn on for normal people. But however things were set up, maybe someone had to fix your computer, you took it to the Geek Squad. Maybe they had to turn off the firewall for a little bit to get something installed. Maybe they forgot to turn it back on. I don't know. Or maybe, your parents did accidentally because it was blocking something. You're trying to install it, and then you just turned it off, but you forgot to turn it back on. I don't know. I don't know why it would get turned off. But keep it on. Click Use Recommended. You can also configure firewall to allow or disallow specific services or protocols. So this is the thing. Certain things you might have to allow in. A certain services and protocols. What is a protocol? Agreed upon method for communication. So it's different set of rules. So Protocols define the rules for how computers exchange data. One example is FTP. So there are sometimes you want file transfers, so you want to be able to transfer files into your computer, maybe from to and from different computers on the network or from outside. Like you got to download files, maybe from your Google Drive or stuff like that. So FTP is how file transfer protocol is how files are transferred. But sometimes FTP can be used by bad people to access your computer because they go, "Hey, you leave that open, I'm gonna transfer a malware through the FTP." Ha ha ha. So a lot of times firewalls kind of disable the FTP just to keep you safe until you need it. So that might have been a reason that it was turned off or whatever. So we can go in left panel, select advanced settings. Then we get this thing. Okay. And the Windows Firewall Advanced Security Windows opens, showing details of your firewall. This manages which services are allowed through your firewall, inbound and outbound. Left panel, click Inbound Rules and enlarge the window. Click this, and we're going to enlarge this window. You click this little thing right here. Boom. Oh, geez. There's a lot of stuff. That's one thing in this class. You're going to get a lot of stuff like this. Just kind of follow what we do. You don't need to know what's going on with all this. No. We're going to see. We're learning about what you can do, all right? Observe the name column and find the FTP server entries. Okay, this is the name. So, FTP server entries. So where are those? How many inbound rules? So we're looking at names. FTP server entries. So we scroll on down. Look at this. So we got these three right here, right? FTP server entries. We've got these FTP server, server passive, server secure. Okay, what are those? How many inbound rules? We got 3. There are 3 inbound FTP rules, and their enabled status is yes. So that means we can have inbound FTP stuff. Select outbound rules and find the FTP entries. How many outbound rules are configured for FTP? What's their status? Okay, so let's go. Looks like I got these 2, and they're both yeses. Boom and boom. So that's my response. 2. What are these FTP rules set to do based on how a Windows firewall is currently configured? What do they do? I don't know. Well, FTP this seems to allow FTP traffic out, FTP SSL traffic out. Okay. Well, that allows you to send out files, file transfer protocol, and this allows you to get files in. That's what I would assume. Yep. In and out. Yes says, hey, FTP data can come in and out. Cool. Select inbound rules in the first FTP entry. FTP server. Right-click this entry and select Disable Rule. Now users on the system will not be allowed to transfer files, including potential malware on your computer. Repeat this for other inbound entries. So, okay, we're on inbound, and we can right-click it and go Disable Rule. And notice it grays it out. Okay, we can disable these. Cool. Okay. Repeat this for the inbound entries. You can also actions enable and disable rules. So we could also use action, go to enable, disable instead of right-clicking. Notice these are all grayed out now. The ones that are running are going to be checked in green. Okay, so at this point, you probably want to save a screenshot. So for the deliverable, take a picture. I'm going to ask you to screenshot this. Open up Snip. Go ahead and do that. Now, in ports. So it might be a question of, okay, do I want to do that on my personal computer right now? I wouldn't. I'm curious on a personal computer. If I did this, Windows Firewall. Okay, I want to see if I can pop this up on my screen. So I'm going to look on the actual, I'm on a school laptop, right? See what this looks like. I want to make sure I'm sharing the screen with you. Window capture. Oh, what's this called? Control panel. Oh, you can't see that. Wait. Yep, there we go. All right, so let's see what this looks like. So, how did I get all that? Advanced settings, right? Let's see if it even allows me. Okay, TPAA is blocking things. Great. I don't even know if this will allow me to click on advanced. Omar probably blocked it. Oh, it's open. Okay, so now I got to open another window. It's called Windows Defender. Okay, another window. So I can go inbound, outbound. What did it say? I don't even know if I could change anything on this computer. I bet I can't. Okay, so one thing you'll get if you're on like a school computer. So it says for your security, some settings are controlled by group policy. So it's controlled by the school servers. So I probably can't even turn this off. Oh, nice. So this is everything. I have Hearthstone installed. Shh, don't tell the school. Sometimes I just won't play Hearthstone. Sky, whatever I have on here. Spotify. Oh, look at that. Steam. Uh-huh. VR. Oh, everything's on here. So inbound, outbound rules. So I bet these are like the games or whatever you've installed are probably going to be on here as well. So I want to see file transfer protocol. See if we have this on here. Microsoft Edge. I don't see it on there. So, I don't know. But it's interesting, like, you got rules will pop in for whatever games and stuff and installed or software. So I've installed like my Skype on here. So now we have some inbound and outbound rules. So my guess, well, no, let's see. I'm the teacher. I know everything right here. Let's pretend I know this. So these are kind of, whenever you install a piece of software, they probably need to have certain access through the firewall. So they set up these rules through the firewall as you're installing things saying, hey, this kind of traffic coming in for my program is good. So allow it to go through. So that's why you get all these rules for whatever you have opened up. So, because you got to allow certain traffic to come in and out. You know, you're having an online game or something. So I'm playing Hearthstone. I bet this traffic does some stuff. So, okay, I don't see FTP on the schools. So my guess is either it looks like something else now, or the school has, how these are set up, it's probably just completely blocked so that you can't, they probably hide this very well so people can't go in here. Because FTP is it's a very insecure thing. So it's probably turned off. I'm curious if you went to your home computer, if FTP is turned on or off. But my school computer, at least, it's no good. So that's good to know. Oh, wait. I want to turn that one off and those off. Okay. I did something. Huh. Oh, yeah. Class is almost empty. Wait. So do I stop right here? Well, you know what? We're going to stop right here. It's going to be lesson that. So we'll have a part 3. Thank you.